get your winter break started, but last time, look, we still have time. Okay, so many students like Jacob Hauser and Stephanie Kemback, they always tell me there are a few regrets, right? And the regrets, some of them are, they should not work that many hours in Macy, or they should eat well, or they really should get that girlfriend. But the common thing, there are three. One is that they now, after they graduate, they realize they need to take classes, a few classes beyond their major requirement. Those classes actually help them become much more above the kind of average. So that's the first thing they always come to me and say they would love to take one or two classes beyond their major. The second one is that they always want to have a better networking beyond their major. So often our students graduate, they only know about 20 of the classmates in the major. And that's the limitation. Then after they graduate, they realize they need to know a lot more people outside of their major. And the third one, which we're going to cover today, hopefully, I hope that you'll be convinced after you graduate, is that most people in the university, their mind is that, how do I get through this horrible experience with minimum number of units and get a piece of paper so I can start my life? But the chances that, if you want to be successful right out of the door of our campus, you need to start planning your career. So the third regret, many students came back and say, I should have think about job search or career development while I'm in the university experience. It doesn't take that many hours. But if you don't spend a few hours per semester, when you are ready to send out the first resume or start networking 6 months after you graduate, you start to realize, wait, what should I do? So my recommendation is that invest some time. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but put that into your plan for the next couple semesters. What do you need to do in your career development? So today we invited Thomas to talk about the whole campus, what kind of structure the campus supports you to start your career development before it's too late. So help me welcome Thomas Rogers to talk about this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. A couple familiar faces in here from you guys. And when we talk about career development, one of the things that I like to bring up with students is that, it's a process, right? If you are, too often, seniors will come to us, maybe they're about to graduate, and they say, I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't have a job lined up, I don't have an internship lined up, and I'm lost, I'm stumped. And let me tell you something. If you are having this realization as a senior, it's not that it's too late, it's just that you needed to start earlier. So we want you thinking about your career each step of the way. And so I'm gonna talk about a couple different things today and kind of jump in and out of a few ideas with you folks. But let me see, so who's working, who's got a job right now? I see a bunch of us, right? And what's your job, sir?
Not in computers at all.
It's okay.
I guess a special needs teacher.
Special needs teacher?
Yes.
And thinking back to when you got that job, how were you originally connected to it?
I guess I was moved up to the area, and it was someone that I was familiar with at the job before.
Oh, so you knew the person who had it
Yes.
before you? Okay, good, thank you. Did you have your hand up here? Where do you work?
I work at Pebble Beach.
She works at Pebble Beach. What do you do there?
I do graphic design.
Graphic design, that's cool. So, how did you get connected to that job?
Well, I started working in retail, and then I went to HR and asked for an internship. And I was working in the marketing department as my internship, and that's my job.
So the original job was in retail at Pebble Beach, and how did you get that job?
I just went online
You
to
went
the
online.
website, and they had an opening, so I applied.
Excellent. Let's hear from one more. Thank you. One more person who's working. Yes, sir.
I'm working at Domino's now.
Domino's Pizza. What do you do for them?
Correct. Deliver pizza. And I mostly just turned in a resume. Had a pretty good looking resume.
You had a good looking
I was
resume.
working at McDonald's at the time, which was terrible, for like a month.
Okay, so we've moved from one food service to the next
Yeah,
one.
and I had some pizza making experience.
And pizza making experience. Yes, excellent. Good. So thank you for sharing, everyone. So the world of, obviously, so here in this classroom, we have, most of you folks are all studying something similar, but we saw a diversity of jobs, right? Different jobs going on. And I want to say, and thank you for sharing, so even if you have a job in food service, or you have a job in customer service, or you have a sales job, or something to that effect, you need to be thinking about the framework of the larger arc of your career. You are learning skills in those jobs. You're learning communication skills. You're learning to multitask. You're learning to prioritize. And these are all skills that employers are going to want to see. So just because the job is not necessarily in your field doesn't mean that it's not going to be used as a stepping stone, or doesn't mean that it's not valuable on your resume or as an experience. And the other aspect that I was hoping to kind of tease out here is the idea of networking, or using referrals to get jobs. So this gentleman here had a personal connection at that organization. The way that you got into the current job was because you knew people in the organization, right? So kind of making that move up. And then your resume submission, was that something you walked that in, or was that an online submission? Or
walked it in.
Walked it in, right. So with regards to job search and job hunt, I really want to give you guys this idea that it's about networking. So your job search really hinges on the power of your network. How good of a networker are you? Because the statistics that I have indicate, and these statistics come from NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers, tell us, they do surveys every year, and they tell us that 4 out of 5 jobs are filled via some kind of a networking connection. So if your idea of job hunt is you and your laptop, and you guys, that's the team, you and your laptop are the team that are going to find you a job. So that laptop is a tool in this search, but really your vision of your job search should be you and other people. You connecting with people. You on the phone, you at conferences or events, you talking with your classmates, and all this kind of stuff. So you've really got to be pushing that part now. So if we're juniors in here primarily, right? So you guys have all of a year and a half left in your college career, and it's going to go by quickly. And assuming we're on the 4-year plan, so maybe 2.5 years. But anyway, one of the career gurus that I read, he says that the most important thing you leave college with is not that piece of paper that Dr. Tao was talking about. The piece of paper that says, I completed this degree. Obviously that's really critical and that's really important. But from a career perspective, the most important thing you walk out of here with is your connections. Your connection, which you brought up earlier. So regrets that former students have is, I didn't connect with enough classmates. I don't have contact information for my old teachers and the like. So if you do nothing else, if you remember nothing else that I say today, please remember this, that before you leave these hallowed halls, you need to have made formal connections through social media or whatever with classmates, with teachers, with alumni, with people who come into your classroom and give you presentations, etc. So I know you've heard from someone who works at LinkedIn, right? You guys heard from a LinkedIn person. So who's on LinkedIn? LinkedIn account holders? Maybe half, a third of us, roughly. So the rest of you, what are you waiting for? Right? So my colleague Rhonda Espinosa is here as well, so she'll be jumping in to help us out.
Sorry, I was saying I was at a career fair. Networking with employers.
She was networking. So we're trying to practice what we preach here. So yes, get on LinkedIn. And if you're not on LinkedIn, make sure that you have a robust Google Plus or Facebook or whatever. These social media is a lot of fun, but we also look at it as a tremendous job search tool. Because when you're job hunting, I like to tell students this, when you're job hunting, it's not that you're looking for a job necessarily, you're looking for a person. You're looking for a person who can connect you to a job or connect you to an organization. And, in the old days, it was about collecting business cards and flipping through Rolodexes, and now all that's been made very easy by social media for us. But use it. And when you are looking for work, push that out in your social media. You've got, dozens or scores or hundreds of friends that you're connected with on social media. Let these people know what you're trying to do. Hey, I'm looking for an internship in doing communication design, doing graphic design. I'm looking for an entry-level job doing information technology. Be specific. Put it out there to your people. And what you're asking for is not, hey, somebody hook me up with a job, although that's great, but you're saying, hey, somebody hook me up with a person. So if you put it out there in your network of friends, and you're saying, I'm looking for something in the Santa Cruz area, in this field, and then then the follow-up is, and who knows anyone who's doing this work in the Santa Cruz area? And then hopefully you get connected with another professional, and then you talk with this individual, you email with them, and you guys share your information, you talk about what you're trying to do, and now this person is another set of eyes and ears for you. So let me tell you a quick story. I was job hunting a couple years ago. I took a break in my career and I joined the Peace Corps in my 30s, and I lived and worked in China for 3 years. And I came back from China in 2009, and I needed to find a job, right? And so I knew I wanted to work with college students. I knew I wanted to do more or less what I'm doing now. And so I had to practice what I preached, which was networking. So I started calling my old friends and colleagues, people that I knew in the field, and I explained to them what I was trying to do, and I said, please help me, please look out for me. And so I talked to this one old, and actually a former supervisor of mine, and she said, we caught up for a couple minutes, and then she says, well, I don't know anything, but I'll keep you in mind. And this woman worked at San Jose State in their career center, and then the next week she calls me and she says, Thomas, are you still looking for something? And I said, yeah. She says, because I was in a staff meeting and the boss said, hey, we've got some extra money. We've got some emergency money in the budget, and we want to bring in someone who can work with this particular population of students. Does anybody know anybody? This is what the supervisor said to her staff. So she's got 15 people that are sitting in front of her. Does anybody know anybody? And so my class, or my friend says, yeah, I know somebody. And so that's how I got the interview. This job was never posted anywhere. This job was not posted online on either internal or external website. This was strictly word of mouth. And had I not done that networking groundwork, it would have never happened for me. So the idea here is that you want to tap into what we call the hidden job market. The hidden job market. That's the unpublished, unposted jobs that are out there. And the way you do this is through your network connections. So if nobody knows you and nobody knows what you're trying to do, you're not going to luck out and none of these things are going to happen to you. So that's why we say push it out there. Get to know people, connect with them, stay in contact with them. If you go to a workshop or you go to a conference in your field, you're meeting people. You're sitting in a seminar room together with people, making friends with them. Hey, can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Hey, can we exchange information? And stay connected to this person, because you never know, that person that you met and hung out with for 5 minutes at a conference, this could be the one who opens the key or holds the key for your next job. So you got to be always thinking about this.
I just came from a career fair. It's a sheriff department, a small business company, and they all had jobs for analysts and different positions within the community. So every one of you should have a connection with Thomas and I, because I don't know who to reach out to. I don't know what jobs that you want to do, what type of career fair what kind of type of career that you want to go into, unless you come and you let Thomas and I know what your interests are. So we should be part of your networking buddies. I have a web designer. I have, there's a sheriff department, there's a web design, someone for a company that needs a web design person. Aquarium is looking for openings. We have several jobs that I don't know who to call or who to reach out and say, would you be interested in this job? So it's really important that you let Thomas and I get to know you, what your interests are, so that when these job opportunities come open, we can call you and we can let you know, hey, there's a job opening for you. Why don't you go? I'm asking employers to partner up with CSU&D Career Services that when job openings come open, to please call us first before you put it out to the public. Because what do we have? We have 6,000 students here that want a job, yeah? So I'm asking the employer, you send me the job description, I'll identify those students that are interested in that field of study. I will send you the email, you will email me back, and I can give you some more information on that job and see if that's what you want to do. What's going to happen? That employer, because we built a relationship, will trust Thomas and I's decision on the student that we send. Because what? We'll work with your resume, we'll talk about that company, we'll talk about professionalism, we'll talk about how you're supposed to dress, and the expectation of that employer. So we are preparing you, so when you go for that interview, you're set. And because we have recommended, the likelihood of you getting that position, unless you just go in there and just bomb it totally, is much greater. So what I'm trying to do, I go out into the community as well as Thomas and connect with all these employers to say, give us a chance first. Aquarium has done it. We're very honored that they're going to look at CSU&B first. Sheriff Department is looking at CSU&B first. A lot of the small businesses are looking at CSU&B first. But if I don't know you, if I don't know what your interests are, it's a lost opportunity. So please make Thomas and I part of your social networking. We've actually started a instant messaging, something to do with, and we haven't figured it out yet, we're doing it in a small group, that if you're interested in jobs, we'll text you in your field of study. So if you're a web designer, if there's any web designs that come up and it's part-time, full-time, we'll text you when those opportunities come up so that you get a text messages. And then you can call us and we can fill you in on it. So we're just figuring out how we can push it out so that everyone's aware that if you want to be on it.
Great. So questions or comments so far for either of us?
An employer is always going to ask, do you have any questions for me? Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Do you get a lot of employers outside of like Monterey, like Tri-County area?
Carmel to San Jose. Carmel to San Jose. Let's say you want to work for a company, you want to do an internship for a company. Come talk to Thomas and I so we can reach out to them. If I can tell you anything, organizations love universities. They love students. Why? It's because Thomas and I are expecting $100,000 a year. You guys aren't. You guys understand this and the cell phone and all the new technical stuff. You guys are savvy at that. They want to bring you into their organization because you can teach the people that are there the newest and greatest of software and technology. They want you in because they can bring you in, they can mold you, and they can shape you. Thomas and I can be shaped not as easily. Oh, can you hear me? No? Yeah. So that is why we want you to come get to know us, and you to tell us where you want to work, where you want to do your internship, so we can reach out to those employers because they're listening to us, because they want you.
So we want to spend a couple minutes talking about professionalism and sort of polishing your professional image or your professional persona. And the idea behind this is that when you're job hunting, when you're out there looking for something, the first impression that an employer has of you is their lasting impression, and sometimes it's the only impression. And so depending on how you're doing outreach, you need to sort of manage these different first impression opportunities. You need to manage your professional persona. And you need to be able to present yourself in such a way that someone sees you as being serious and committed and ready to roll. So we're not going to do each and every slide on this, but I want to kind of go through some of the basic key points here. We're going to be talking a lot about the idea of professional or professionalism, or this term we made up, which is professionalize. And so this is about being businesslike, being courteous, kind of showing up on time, and all those things that what it means to be professional. This is expected of you. Now, in certain tech companies and certain media companies, we know that the culture is casual, and we know that people do not have to dress up to go to work. And but we still are going to encourage you that during the job hunt process and during the interview process, that you are presenting yourself in a professional manner, because you know it's far better to say, oh, hey, Rhonda, you're dressed up. This is too nice for the office. So tomorrow you can come more casually, jeans are fine, whatever. Better to get that than if you show up looking really disheveled for the interview and they say, oh, you know, we need someone who we know can be presentable, right? So there's 4 different ways that you can, that an employer is getting a first impression of you. One of them is via email. So if they have your resume and they're doing their initial outreach to you via email, you need to have a professional sounding email address. Your csumb.edu email address is great for this, but if anyone has or is still using a casual or goofy email address, we strongly encourage you to clean that up for your resume for sure.
Give me an example.
So surfergirl82, at AOL.com. Not, it's not obnoxious, but it's sending a message to this employer. And what's the message that's sending? What do you think? Yes, sir.
Like it's called sitting and go surfing.
Surfing might be the priority as opposed to showing up to work consistently. Or if your address was party girl or something like that. So, this is fine. I think it's fine and it's cute when you're an adolescent, but at this point in your career, at this point in your professional development, you need to be presenting a professional front.
Let me tell you a little secret. The company that's looking at your resume, before it gets to the manager, it comes to the HR department. And if you have something like pimpdaddy.com, hotbabywantsAjob.com, me as an HR manager, what am I going to do with your resume? I'm going to throw you away because what? You are a lawsuit to my company, a sexual harassment lawsuit. So I don't want you in my organization. I don't want to hire a liability. So be mindful of what is on your voicemail or your email or even in your resume, because if there's any indication that you're going to be a liability to my organization, I'm not even going to consider you. So that's why we talk about professionalism. When you get into the organization and they say that you can use rap or you can be lax and stuff, wait for them to tell you to do that. But during the interview process, and it begins when you fill that application or you show interest, you are in the interview process, please do not do anything that is going to prevent you from getting that opportunity, because you could be the key person. But one little thing like an email or your voicemail or something that's not right in your resume can prevent you from doing that.
So what Ron and I like to talk about is that you need to play it safe. During the job hunt process and during the interviewing process, you need to be playing it safe. And you can take risks and be daring later when you have the job. But you don't want to give the employer any reason to throw you into that we don't want you pile. So it's no secret, the job market's tough. And for any given position out there, you can assume that there are dozens, if not hundreds of people applying for that position. And when, as an HR manager, as a recruiter, when you're faced with a stack of 100 applicants, the first thing, when I'm going through those 100 applicants for the first time, what am I looking for? What am I trying to, what's my goal? Yes?
Get rid of as many as you possibly can.
That's right.
Yes.
He's been to my workshop before. So,
And I seen him yesterday in my office.
So we're trying to get that stack of 100 down to 10, down to 5. So my first pass, I'm not necessarily looking at what your degree is or what your experience is or how many years you've been doing communication design. I'm looking for mistakes. I'm looking for any glaring thing on the resume that shows me this person's not ready, this person's not serious. And you go from that maybe stack into the no stack. So that's why we say play it safe in these categories. So here's an example of an email signature. This is basic stuff, you guys should know it, but if you're not doing this already in your email, you need to start doing it. So in terms of thinking about key skills, we're seeing that communication skill. So if you've looked at any job announcements lately, you've seen that famous line, oral and written communication skills, right? That's like everyone wants you to have that. And so what does that really mean? You need to be able to convey ideas concisely, you need to have good grammar and spelling, not just good, but perfect. And when you are applying for a job, your resume and your cover letter is a writing sample that is demonstrating to an employer that you have some chops when it comes to writing professionally. That as a manager, I need to know that you can write a good email. Now, I'm not telling you send me an email, I'm telling you send me your resume. And that's what I'm looking at really carefully and really critically to make sure that you have your act together. So spelling mistakes, errors, any of that kind of stuff in an email, in a resume, that's bad news. Be careful being too casual, too formal. I've heard it from teachers on this campus have said, our students are too informal with us. So when you address an email to your teacher, you shouldn't be saying, hey, Eric. You should be saying, attention. You should be saying, hello, Dr. Tao. You should be giving the formal. Because why? Because A, he's earned it and he's deserved your respect. But B, it's practice. It's practice because your teacher, your instructor, deserves to have that professional address, just as your boss or your potential boss does.
And the interesting part about it, you have 4 years to practice to make mistakes on this campus. Once you get in front of that employer, you only get one chance. And the saving grace with employers is they understand your college students. So they're really a little bit more lenient with you. But once again, the pool is high and you've got a lot of experience out there. They want you, but you've got to prove it to them that you want them. Same way with resumes. Do not send the same resume to every job you're applying for. It has to be specific to the job that you're going for. So you have to customize it to that job. A lot of students will come and say, well, I've sent out 50 resumes. And I'll say, were they the same? Yeah. You don't. It's specialized to the organization that you're going for. So if you need any help on that, please come see Thomas and I so we can point out those key points to make your resume stand out to that employer so you get that interview.
Okay, the last thought here on email, no breaks. So, think about when you have a friend who sends you an email and you open up that email and your entire screen fills up with like a wall of text, right? What is your response to that? How do you feel when you see that brick wall of words? Yeah.
It's not very appealing to read.
It's not appealing. Am I going to read this? Maybe. Maybe. So that's why you want to, so same thing, when you're sending an email to don't be that person who sends those emails, first of all, to your friends, but especially to your teachers and your employers and potential employers. Number things, use bullets, break it up, use paragraphs. You guys know how to write. So demonstrate that in the email. And I know that if you're a texter and you text all the time, and I think that it's a great way to get a message to somebody quickly, and I think you use shorthanded text and you don't worry about throwing bullets and paragraphs and all that kind of stuff, you just blah, 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 right? So, but you cannot take that same mode and now transfer it to an email that you're sending to a professional. You've got to know that that's a different audience, and you cannot be sending them slang and all that kind of stuff. And proofread your email. This is something, it takes time. If you've written a long email, to go back and proof it takes a minute. But by sending an email with perfect grammar and spelling and all that, and clear points, you are building your professional image. Okay, voicemail. Does anybody know what this picture is here? Have we seen this before?
It doesn't have any buttons.
There's no buttons. There's not even a rotary. Okay, so back in the day, that's what phones looked like. So, voicemail. So talking about voicemail. So here's the second way that an employer can get a first impression of you is on your voicemail. They call you and you don't answer and it goes to your voicemail. And so I know that some students like to have fun, outgoing messages, maybe have some music playing, maybe have some people joking around or giggling in the background. And this is fun, this is shticky. But unfortunately, if a recruiter hears that, they hear music and it sounds like a party's happening when they get onto your voicemail. Now, what's the message you're sending to this recruiter? You're fun. True. What else? Fun is good. Fun is important. What else might they be assuming? I might not be responsible. I might not be serious about this. So this is something, go check. Listen to your voicemail message and see, do I sound serious here? And you don't have to sound somber and dull, but you can be enthusiastic, but you need to be professional, and you need to not have a bunch of extra noise and stuff going on that message, because you need to send an appropriate message.
On that note, even your dialing thing, how many times it annoys me to have that advantage where you can put a song on. Please listen to the music while we attempt to reach your call. And it's got some headbanger music on it.
Oh, so instead of...
And I hang up before I even finish my phone call.
Good point. So if you are choosing to put music instead of the ring, ring, ring for your callers, make sure that's some appropriate music and not anything too edgy.
Because remember, an HR manager or recruiter is calling 15 people for an interview. And if they have to listen to 15 rap songs or a message, or your kids in the back, or your dogs, a party going on, that gets annoying. Employers have said to me, if I have to wait 20 seconds after I've dialed your number to leave a message, I am not going to leave a message because I don't have time. Because what that person is telling to me, that they are so important that they need to listen to my music, then leave a message. So don't do it. Be mindful that this employer this is just a small part of that HR or that recruiter's job, is to leave you a message to give you a job. So make sure it's short and sweet. Hi, this is Rhonda Espinosa, 664-211. Leave a message and I'll get back with you promptly. And when you hear that it's a recruiter, what do? You get back to them promptly because it's part of the interview process. If they leave a message wanting to talk to you, it is an interview process that has just instantly started. Don't wait 2 or 3 days to get back to them. Even if you're out of town, I've heard your message, I will get back with you, I'm out of town, this isn't appropriate, but get back to that recruiter or that HR manager. Because if you don't, then they go on to the next person.
That's right. Thank you. You don't want to be playing phone tag with these people. Get back to them promptly. Now, let's flip the coin for a second. When you are leaving the voicemail message, you need to have a strategy here where you are being clear, you're being concise, leave your phone number, tell why you called, right? This is really basic stuff, but a couple quick pointers. I always encourage people, leave your phone number twice. Because how many times have you listened to that message and you said, oh, what was that number? I got the 831. So I got to back it up now. Oh, how do I rewind my message on my voicemail, So so prevent that person from having to listen to your voicemail twice by slowly and clearly giving your phone number and then giving it again. Even if you think they have it, give it to them again. And also, you need to be speaking clearly and enunciating here. Because that's the other thing that a recruiter will tell us is, I couldn't understand them on the voicemail. I don't know who I'm calling back. So slow down, speak clearly, and speak with a little bit of enthusiasm and pep as well. As Rhonda just pointed out, with regards to you interviewing and going for a job, when you started a phone conversation with this recruiter, or you started phone tag with this recruiter, your interview has started already. And you need to be on professional and on your best behavior here, and you need to be exhibiting the skills that they want to see. All right, so networking, we've talked about networking already, as the importance of networking. So when we talk about Facebook, and you can substitute whatever your social media is here, if you don't use Facebook, that's okay, but so employers are looking at social media as a way to get more information about you. And whether or not you think that's fair, right, just, legal, whatever, that's a debate for another class. The point is that it does happen. And so you need to be managing that online persona carefully. And you need to be understanding, okay, here's what the employer wants, and you need to be kind of filling in the gaps for them. So that means that you need to have some care about the pictures that you post on there, and that your friends post of you, and you need to have some care around the language you use and the types of posts that you have. Yes, sir?
Do you have any examples of bad Facebook?
Yes, you just got
Just verbally, we
you've got a terrible grade, Dr. Tao's class. And you went to him, and he said, no, that's what you deserve. And then you get on the Facebook, and you totally disrespect him to all your colleagues. Don't go to the class, he's not a fair person, he's not that. To me, as a recruiter, that says that you don't respect authority. Does that make sense? So you want to be mindful not to put your personal opinions on your Facebook about how you feel, even about your colleagues. Don't do it, because who are you going to be working with in your work place of work? People like this, and there's someone in this room that you really don't care to have tea with. You don't want to do that, because once again, I want someone that's well-rounded, that can work in a diverse work environment with anybody, black, white, gay, lesbian, 1 ear, 2 ear, wild hair, blue hair. And if you demonstrate that on your Facebook, I'm not going to call you. Now, this is not up for debate about employers checking your Facebook, but they do. So I just had a campus president call me from another college saying, I want to hire someone, but when I went on Facebook, this girl was smoking using a bong. What do you think, Rhonda? And I go, do you really want my opinion? Do you want someone that's going to be working with students that's on Facebook smoking a bomb? Don't do it. Keep your private, personal, sexual, drug life off of Facebook, LinkedIn, all of it, ladies and gentlemen, yes.
When you're looking for a candidate and you find that they don't have any social network presence, does that count against them?
Yes.
Yes, it can. So
Tell your example.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. So the having a poorly managed social media is one mistake, but the other mistake is zero social media. And because if you don't have any presence on there, that's also sending a message. And it's sending the message that maybe you're aloof, or you don't get along well with others, or you don't have a network. And so an example from my own history, I was interviewing for a job at a college, and it was a phone interview, and the woman said, are you on LinkedIn? Are you on LinkedIn? And I said, this was 3 or 4 years ago, and I said, no, I don't think so. And it turns out that she didn't tell me this right at that moment, but later I found out that I lost out on this opportunity because I was not on LinkedIn. Because she was looking for someone who had connections. She was looking for someone who could jump into a job and immediately start connecting her students with employers and recruiters. And the evidence of that was a robust LinkedIn network, which I did not have. Turns out I did have one, but I hadn't developed it. So, yes, so you need to have something going on there. Now, this doesn't mean you have to get on there every night with your glass of wine and tap on Facebook. And what it means is that you need to have an account. You need to have some pictures and some information about yourself. For sure, we would recommend doing LinkedIn. If nothing else, we would say do LinkedIn. And so these are my recommendations for that. Have a complete profile. Get rolling with developing your network. Get recommendations. That's so cool. You can get recommendations. You can get skills validation on LinkedIn, where other colleagues, other connections of yours, essentially validate and say, yes, this person can do this thing, and yes, they're good. Yes, take a look at them. So it's like a permanent recommendation letter that sits on that website forever. And and then you can also job hunt on LinkedIn. So you can say, okay, I want to work at Apple. So then you go into your LinkedIn account and you type in Apple, and it'll pull up people in your network who work there. And if there's nobody in your network who works there, it'll take a look at that second generation of networking contacts, and does anyone in there work at Apple? So definitely use it and be careful.
So I always say when you leave CSUNB, you want to have your degree and your network of people that you're networking with. This is all your networking right here. These are people that you're going to be staying in contact after you leave this university. So build your networking base. That's how I was hired. The first thing they asked me was, what was my networking base? Oh, I have about 500 employees. Okay, maybe this is someone because what am I doing? I'm going to be working with students with internship, job site development, employment. So they wanted to know what my networking base, and I had to show them. And I just didn't say, I had to show them, this is my networking base. So build it, ladies and gentlemen. It's important going forward, getting out the workforce.
Thank you. So,
Yes.
yes, sir.
While you're on the Facebook thing, in a sociology class I did, we discussed the advantage also of making sure you show your likes being appropriate. Not just your pictures, what you have to say, but your likes. What do you like? Even if you show some likes that are pretty cool, that are going to look good, even if you really don't like it. Make your likes look likable.
Likable likes, good tip. Yes, thank you.
Okay, on the presence that you're having the capability of blocking people completely out of your social network, like, no one can see my stuff unless I'm friends. And if they're going to look at my profile and see that's restricted and all you have is my image and then my cover photo, are they going to be, is that a negative, since the fact that I'm protecting myself even from stalkers, from, fraudulent credit like scammers, and they're going to take that in a negative way because I'm protecting myself?
Well, that's why I say go to LinkedIn.
Well, yeah, that's like,
Go.
but they're really going to judge on a Facebook account that seriously? If I'm just
That
trying
is
to protect myself?
restricting access. I don't think that's going to seem as an issue.
Okay.
No.
I mean, it's just that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
Right.
But the other thing you need to keep in mind is that there's ways around it, and so you don't want to make an assumption that just because you've put those privacy settings up, that no one can get to the stuff behind it. Because tenacious employers who really want to know more about you will find a way to get around that.
I have employers calling me saying, give me a college student because I need for them to just go on Facebook because I need to find out, they need to help me find out about who I'm hiring. So they're asking you, because these walls that go up, how to get through them and stuff. So there's no way to hide that.
Isn't that considering that we just have a law passed that says they can't ask for passwords?
Yes.
But isn't that in the same context of law that they're breaking the law by using a different word field to get into the account?
Right. So that was the comment I made at the very beginning of this was that that's a debate for a different class.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, Christopher.
I was going to ask. Somebody said even put up some likes that aren't, you don't necessarily like if they're going to look good. Is that wise, especially if somebody asks you about that? Or I know that I've been told time and time again, do not put anything on your resume that you cannot back up.
Right.
But I'm wondering about, are these white lies on a Facebook account or on another social network account about what you may or what you like or dislike? Are those wise?
Well, it's up to you ultimately. So if you're claiming that you like something, you should like it at least a little. So, but yeah, he's right. Be careful about putting fraudulent things on your online account. So, okay.
Well, they're going to make you prove it. When I decided to get a job here, I had to prove everything. I had to show my degrees. I had to prove it. So you can put whatever you want on there, but when it comes down to going for that job interview, and they're saying, okay, now we're going to do the background check. Show me your bachelor's degree, show me your master's degree, prove it. So if you can't prove it, so be mindful that when you put stuff on there, employers aren't just taking your word, they're asking you to prove it. If you say that you can work on some software, bring your laptop and demonstrate it, because they're going to ask you to prove it.
Good. So we've talked about the three different ways you can make a first impression with an employer. One was email, one was voicemail, one was social media, and then the fourth one, of course, is the face-to-face meeting. So where you're meeting in an interview, or you're meeting at a career fair, or you're meeting at a networking event, or a conference, or a workshop, whatever, you need to have the decorum, the dress and the decorum needs to be appropriate. So with these two gentlemen here on the phone, let's start with the guy on the right. what just, making snap judgments about him based on how he looks, what are our impressions of this guy?
Sexy.
Yeah, what else? Yeah.
He's not real professional, he's kind of relaxed.
He's relaxed. Good, what else? Where might he work?
Construction.
Bartender, maybe, yeah, sure. And how about our guy on the left? What are our first impressions of him?
He's happy.
He's happy.
Happy.
He's smile, big smile. He's professional. Where might he work?